Chariot Racing by Kevin and Charlie.
No, you should press it. 1. Chariot racing was the most popular spectator sport in ancient Rome, even more popular than gladiator combats. 2. Charioteers wore leather and helmet jerking in green, blue, red, or white, the colors of their factions, or faction companies in Latin.
3. Some charioteers began training while they were still children, and many of the stars of the hippodrome would have been in their teens. 4. A charioteer or horse who had won over 1,000 races was called a milaris.
5. The races were always run counterclockwise. 6. The Circus Maximus in Rome seated nearly 250,000 people. Carceres, the starting gates, and Arena, the actual racetrack.
7. Most chariots were pulled by stallions, 2 for a biga, 2-horse chariot, and 4 for a quadriga, 4-horse chariot. As many as 12 teams ran in each race. 8. A charioteer would tie the reins around his waist and put a sharp knife in his belt. If he was thrown from his chariot, he would try to cut himself free as he was being dragged along. Whenever a chariot crashed, the crowd would yell out, "Naufragum," which means shipwreck.
9. Chariots completed 7 circuits, marked by dolphins, sacred to Neptune, god of the sea and also of horses, and eggs, sacred to Castor and Pollux. 10. Chariots were very light so they could go as fast as possible, and were probably made of wicker and leather. It would have been like driving a basket on wheels.
11. The Emperor Nero was passionate about horses and even drove his own chariot. 12. Given the dangerous nature of the sport, chariot racing was very expensive. However, its popularity meant that it was very profitable, and over time it became highly organized into an early form of show business.
13. The procession included religious representatives. All the chariot racing teams accompanied by their standards musicians, attending magistrates, and workers of the circus. 14. The start of the race was sounded by trumpets, but the excessive noise eventually led to a handkerchief called mappa being dropped from the magistrate's or imperial box. 15. Horses were specially bred for the races, and Pliny tells us that those of Africa and Spain were the most highly regarded breeds. Their training would start at about the age of 5, and their careers would reach anything up to 20 years. 16. Fights between rival teams are well recorded, particularly one in Pompeii which caused several deaths and the teams to be disqualified for 10 years. 17. Chariot races were one of the only public places where men and women could freely mix and sit next to one another. 18. Chariot racing dates back to at least the 6th century BCE. It was popular among the Etruscans.
19. The last race at Circus Maximus was held in AD 549, almost a millennium after the first races were held at this location. 20. Today, only the layout of the original circus can be seen in what is now a large grassland. Most of the original structure was used as building material for medieval and Renaissance constructions.